Welcome back to our channel. Today we're taking a nostalgic ride back to 1977 to uncover the fascinating world of Smokey and the Bandit, a high-speed comedy classic filled with daring stunts, unforgettable characters, and plenty of laughs. The story follows Beau Bandit Darville and his partner Snowman as they race against the clock to transport 400 cases of Coors beer across state lines, all while outwitting the relentless Sheriff Buford T. Justice. Along the way, Bandit picks up Frog, a runaway bride, leading to a wild adventure packed with humor, heart, and high-octane chases. This film not only defined an era, but also left an enduring legacy in pop culture, proving that sometimes breaking the rules can be a whole lot of fun. Stay tuned as we dive into 26 things you never knew about this iconic movie. 1. The cultural shift. It represented Smokey, and the Bandit captured a unique moment in American culture during the late 1970s, reflecting a shift toward more relaxed and rebellious storytelling. This film arrived at a time when audiences were seeking light-hearted escapism, especially following the political and social turbulence of the early 1970s. The characters of Bandit, Snowman, and even Sheriff Justice became symbols of rebellion against authority and celebration of individuality, a theme that resonated widely with viewers. This cultural backdrop set the stage for a story that was as rebellious as it was entertaining, blending humor with relatable themes of freedom and individuality. 2. The inspiration behind the plot. What if we told you that the thrilling bootlegging adventure at the heart of Smokey and the Bandit was born from something as simple and peculiar as beer? That's right. The idea for the movie's plot came from a surprising real-life quirk involving Coors Banquet beer. At the time, Coors wasn't just a drink. It was practically an icon east of the Mississippi River. Why? Because it was illegal to sell there. Coors required constant refrigeration, and its unpasteurized state made it a rare commodity outside its distribution zone. Director Hal Needham stumbled upon this curious detail while working as Burt Reynolds' stunt double on the 1976 film Gator. The scarcity of Coors was so notorious that it even led to some strange behavior. One day, Needham witnessed a maid sneaking cans of the prized beer out of a hotel fridge. This bizarre moment stuck with him, but it wasn't until he read a 1974 article detailing Coors' elusive status that the wheels really started turning. Suddenly, the concept of transporting this forbidden beer became the perfect setup for a high-stakes, action-packed adventure. But here's where the magic happens. Needham didn't just stop at the idea of smuggling beer. He built an entire world around it, a world of daring drivers, outrageous lawmen, and high-speed chases, all with a touch of humor and charm. In later interviews, Needham admitted that he didn't expect the plot to resonate with audiences as much as it did. Yet, the combination of a relatable goal, getting something scarce to people who want it, and the wild antics of the characters turned out to be a storytelling masterstroke. Even Burt Reynolds, when asked about the inspiration for the plot, found it amusing. Hal always had this way of finding something so ordinary and making it extraordinary, Reynolds once said. Who would have thought a bootlegging story about beer could be this much fun? This real-life connection to Coors gave the film an authentic edge. It wasn't just about cars and comedy. It was rooted in a quirky slice of American culture, one that audiences could recognize and laugh about. So next time you crack open a cold one, think about how a humble can of beer inspired one of the most iconic car chase comedies of all time. 3. Burt Reynolds' friends. Objected to his role, that was Burt Reynolds in the 1970s, a box office king with the kind of charisma that could light up any screen. So, When his longtime friend Hal Needham approached him with a handwritten script for Smokey and the Bandit, you'd think the decision to say yes would be a no-brainer. But not everyone in Reynolds' inner circle was thrilled about the idea. In fact, some of his closest friends were downright horrified. Reynolds himself recalled this moment in his autobiography. When Needham handed him the script, scribbled on yellow legal pads, Reynolds saw the potential immediately. He believed in Hal's vision, trusted his instincts, and admired his passion. Hal was a stuntman, not a writer, Reynolds admitted, but he had an incredible sense of fun, and I thought, why not? However, Reynolds' friends had a very different perspective. To them, taking on a film about bootlegging beer with what seemed like a modest budget and an unconventional premise was a massive risk for an actor of his stature. They felt the project wasn't worthy of Reynolds' star power and could potentially tarnish his reputation. In an almost theatrical display of concern, they reportedly got down on their knees, tears in their eyes, and begged him not to take the role. This reaction might seem dramatic, but it's worth considering the context. In 1977, Reynolds was at the height of his career, known for blockbuster hits like Deliverance and The Longest Yard. His friends likely feared that a quirky, comedic road movie wouldn't align with the high-caliber roles Reynolds was famous for. To them, Smokey and the Bandit probably looked like a gamble with no guaranteed payoff. But Reynolds was nothing if not confident in his choices. He once joked, if I listened to everything my friends told me, I'd have a lot less fun. And fun was exactly what drew him to the role. Reynolds saw something in Hal Needham's vision that others didn't, a unique blend of humor, action, and heart that could resonate with audiences. I knew it wasn't going to be Shakespeare, he quipped in an interview years later, but I also knew people were going to love it. Looking back, Reynolds' decision to trust his instincts was one of the smartest moves of his career. Smokey and the Bandit became a massive hit, cementing his status as a Hollywood legend and proving that sometimes taking a risk can lead to extraordinary rewards. The role of Southern culture. The film is deeply rooted in Southern charm and values, from the accents to the love of cars and the lively country music. This connection helped the movie resonate strongly with audiences in the South, who saw their culture represented in a fun and positive light. It wasn't just a movie about fast cars, it was a love letter to the open roads and traditions of the American South. 5. Jerry Reed's recasting as Snowman Hal Needham originally cast Jerry Reed as the Bandit. After securing Burt Reynolds for the lead, Reed was recast as Snowman, playing the Bandit's sidekick. 6. Its impact on the buddy movie genre. The dynamic between Bandit and Snowman is an excellent example of the buddy movie formula. Their camaraderie, mutual respect, and banter provided a template for future action comedy duos. Films like Lethal Weapon and Rush Hour owe some of their charm to the groundwork laid by Smokey and the Bandit. 7. Sally Field took the role to reshape her image. Sally Field, who played Frog, accepted the role partly to improve her public image. Despite her acclaimed performance in Sybil, 1976, Field faced criticism about her appearance. Burt Reynolds personally offered her the role, which she saw as an opportunity to change perceptions of her in Hollywood. 8. Challenges with securing cars. For the film, Hal Needham planned to use 6 Pontiac Transams for the movie, but only received 3 from the company. Similarly, only 2 Bonnevilles were provided instead of the requested 4. By the end of filming, all but 1 Trans Am were destroyed. 9. Influence on stunt work in Hollywood. The daring stunts in Smokey and the Bandit set a high standard for action films. The Mulberry Bridge jump and the high-speed chases through narrow roads pushed the boundaries of what was possible on screen at the time. These sequences inspired countless other filmmakers to incorporate more practical, thrilling stunts into their projects. 10. Modified engine for stunts. The TransAm used in the movie needed extra power for certain stunts. For the Mulberry Bridge jump, the car was fitted with a modified engine by a NASCAR garage, giving it the necessary boost. Instead, the sound effects were created using a 1955 Chevrolet custom car. 12. Budget cuts before production began. The film's budget was initially $5.3 million, but was cut by $1 million just before filming began. Despite this, Hal Needham managed to complete the film for $3.3 million, with Burt Reynolds' $1 million paycheck taking a large portion. 13. Fred the dog was cast locally. Instead of hiring a professional dog trainer, a local contest was held to find the perfect dog for the role. A Basset Hound won and became the beloved Fred in the movie. 14. Sheriff Buford T. Justice was inspired by real life. Burt Reynolds' father, who was a police chief in Florida, inspired the character of Sheriff Buford T. Justice. His mispronunciation of son of a b as some was incorporated into the character's dialogue. 15. Jackie Gleason's improvisational genius. When it comes to creating iconic movie characters, some actors stick to the script while others take it as a suggestion. Jackie Gleason, who masterfully portrayed the hilariously over-the-top Sheriff Buford T. Justice in Smokey, and the Bandit, belonged to the latter camp. In fact, Gleason improvised a staggering 70 to 80% of his lines during filming, transforming what could have been a straightforward antagonist into one of the most memorable and beloved characters in comedy history. Take, for example, one of the film's funniest visual gags, the moment when Sheriff Justice storms out of a barbecue joint with a long trail of toilet paper stuck to his shoe. Believe it or not, that wasn't in the script. It was entirely Gleason's idea. His comedic instincts were so sharp that he could find humor in the smallest, most mundane details, turning them into laugh-out-loud moments that audiences still remember decades later. It's this kind of improvisational genius that gave the character a larger-than-life presence. But Gleason didn't stop at physical comedy. His ad-libbed lines, often delivered with a perfect mix of frustration and absurdity, brought Sheriff Justice to life in a way no script ever could. Lines like "what we have here is a complete lack of respect for the law," and his infamous mispronunciations of insults became instant classics. Fans couldn't get enough of his outrageous one-liners, and even today those quotes continue to circulate in memes, social media posts, and fan-made tributes. Critics and audiences alike praised Gleason's performance. Many felt his improvisation added a unique flavor to the film, elevating it from a standard action comedy to a cultural phenomenon. One fan, reflecting on Gleason's role, commented, "Every scene with Sheriff Justice was pure gold. You could tell Gleason was having the time of his life, and that energy was contagious. Even his co-stars were in awe of his ability to make magic on the spot." Burt Reynolds once remarked in an interview, "Jackie Gleason didn't just read lines, he invented moments. You never knew what he was going to do next, and that kept everyone on their toes. It was like watching a master at work." The media also took notice of Gleason's standout performance, with many reviews singling out his portrayal as a highlight of the film. The Los Angeles Times called his improvisation a comedic masterclass, while others credited him with redefining how a comedic villain could be portrayed. Gleason's legacy in Smokey and the Bandit is a testament to the power of creative freedom and trusting an actor's instincts. His ability to ad-lib not only enriched the film, but also left an indelible mark on pop culture. The sheriff might have been chasing the bandit, but in reality, Gleason was stealing every scene. It's no exaggeration to say that Gleason's comedic brilliance helped turn Sheriff Justice into one of the most unforgettable characters in cinema history. 16. Jackie Gleason's code for Bourbon. Gleason often asked his assistant for a hamburger when he wanted bourbon. This code word quickly became common knowledge among the film crew. 17. Changes from the original screenplay. The original script featured several differences, including Bandit's last name being Laro, Carrie being named Kate, and Cletus referred to as Bandit 2. The reward for the bootlegging run was initially a new truck, not $80,000. 18. Junior. Was Jackie Gleason's idea. Gleason suggested adding the character of Junior, Sheriff Justice's son, to the movie. He felt his character needed someone to interact with, which led to the creation of Junior, adding comedic relief. 19. Jerry Reed's last-minute song contribution. Jerry Reed wrote the iconic song Eastbound and Down Overnight after promising Hal Needham he'd create a song for the movie. Despite staying out late, Reed delivered the song the next morning, and Needham insisted he not change a single note. 20. Alfred Hitchcock loved the film. Alfred Hitchcock surprisingly counted Smokey and the Bandit as one of his favorite films. His daughter revealed that it was the last movie he screened in his office during his later years. 21st. Box office success and pop culture impact. When Smokey and the Bandit hit theaters in 1977, it wasn't just a movie. It became a phenomenon. Grossing over $300 million worldwide, the film not only cemented its place in cinematic history, but also showcased the power of a feel-good, high-octane comedy to captivate audiences across the globe. Incredibly, it became the second highest-grossing film of the year, right behind the cultural juggernaut that was Star Wars. But let's pause for a moment to appreciate just how monumental this achievement was. 1977 was a banner year for Hollywood, with heavyweights like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Saturday Night Fever vying for attention. Yet, against all odds, Smokey and the Bandit revved past these critically acclaimed titles at the box office. What made it stand out? Its universal appeal. While Star Wars was transporting audiences to galaxies far, far away, Smokey and the Bandit kept things down to earth, delivering laughs, thrills, and a slice of Southern charm that resonated with viewers everywhere. One of the film's most remarkable impacts was its influence on car culture, particularly the Pontiac TransAm. Before Smokey and the Bandit, the TransAm was a stylish but relatively niche car. After the movie, it became a cultural icon. Audiences didn't just watch Bandit's sleek black TransAm tear up the roads. They wanted to own one. For the first time in history, the Pontiac TransAm outsold the Chevrolet Camaro, and sales skyrocketed, with some attributing the surge directly to the film's popularity. Burt Reynolds even received a promotional model of the car as a thank you gift from Pontiac, a car that later sold at auction for nearly $500,000, further proving its legendary status. The film's influence extended beyond the box office and car dealerships. It became a pop culture staple. It wasn't just about the cars or the comedy. It was about capturing a spirit of fun, freedom, and rebellion that audiences couldn't get enough of. Fans started quoting lines from the movie, imitating Sheriff Buford T. Justice's over-the-top antics, and donning cowboy hats like the Bandit himself. Decades later, Smokey and the Bandit continues to inspire parodies, references, and even car shows dedicated to its legacy. Critics and fans alike marveled at how a film with such a simple premise, a beer run, could leave such a lasting impact. One reviewer from the time wrote, "It's not just a movie, it's a good time in a theater seat." Fans often describe it as the kind of movie you can watch over and over, each time picking up on a new joke or detail that makes you appreciate its charm even more. Ultimately, Smokey and the Bandit wasn't just a financial success, it became a cultural movement. Its blend of humor, heart, and high-speed action struck a chord that still resonates today. So, if you've ever dreamed of hitting the open road in a TransAm or outsmarting a pesky sheriff, you have this film to thank. 22nd, audience reception at the time. While critics initially gave mixed reviews, the audience reception was overwhelmingly positive. The film became a crowd favorite, with many moviegoers returning to theaters multiple times to rewatch the exhilarating chases and laugh-out-loud moments. Audience enthusiasm was a key driver behind the film's massive box office success. 23rd, Burt Reynolds' TransAm was auctioned. Pontiac gave Burt Reynolds a promotional TransAm, which he later sold due to financial difficulties. The car was eventually auctioned off for nearly $500,000. From toy replicas of the TransAm to themed posters and bandit costumes, fans embraced the film's imagery in their own lives. Even today, car shows dedicated to the Pontiac TransAm often feature models decked out in Bandit's signature black and gold. 25th, censored dialogue for television. When Smokey and the Bandit aired on network television, changes were made to tone down the dialogue to meet broadcasting standards. This meant softening or censoring much of the sharp and colorful language that made the movie so memorable. These edits were made to ensure the movie could reach a wider audience while staying within the limits of what was acceptable for TV at the time. One of the most significant changes involved Sheriff Justice's infamous insult, "son of a bee." This phrase, which perfectly captured the character's foul-mouthed, larger-than-life persona, was deemed too risque for television audiences. The solution? Replacing it with the far less intimidating "scum bum." While this alteration kept the dialogue family-friendly, it also unintentionally gave Sheriff Justice an oddly amusing, almost cartoonish flair that many fans found both hilarious and endearing. What's even more surprising is how they made this change happen. Instead of having Jackie Gleason, who famously played the sheriff, re-record his lines, the job went to Henry Corden, the voice of Fred Flintstone. This unexpected crossover gave the sheriff's TV dialogue a slightly different tone, one that some fans found delightfully quirky. It's as if the gravelly voice of Fred Flintstone himself had stepped into the world of high-speed chases and comedic chaos. The censored version became a talking point among fans, sparking debates about whether the toned-down dialogue diminished the character's charm or added a new layer of unintentional comedy. Some viewers were amused by the absurdity of phrases like "scum bum," while others felt it took away from the raw humor that made Sheriff Justice so unforgettable. Interestingly, this change also highlighted the evolving standards of media during the late 1970s and early 1980s. It serves as a reminder of how films had to adapt to reach wider audiences while navigating the restrictions of television broadcasting. Despite the edits, Smokey and the Bandit retained his charm, with fans continuing to celebrate both the original and the censored versions for their unique appeal. So, what's your take on Sheriff Justice's TV-friendly insults? Do you prefer the unfiltered chaos of the original or the quirky charm of Scum Bum? Share your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for more behind-the-scenes stories about your favorite classics. 26. Enduring Legacy of Smokey and the Bandit. Smokey and the Bandit remains a timeless classic with a legacy of humor, action, and memorable characters. Its behind-the-scenes stories and cultural impact continue to fascinate fans. And there you have it, 26 fascinating facts about Smokey and the Bandit that highlight the humor, ingenuity, and sheer magic that went into creating this timeless classic. From Burt Reynolds' legendary charm to the TransAm's unforgettable stunts, this film continues to entertain and inspire generations of fans. If you enjoyed learning about these behind-the-scenes tidbits, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your favorite fact in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more movie magic.